Welcome to another edition of Action 14. I'm Mike Briggs. We'll be giving you information about the school, the city, and the arts. I start out with Superintendent Dan Mello. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll talk a bit about the school board meeting we had last week, and you added a new member to the school board.
We did. We had a member that resigned, and so then when you have a resignation, you have to have the board members in the interim before there's another vote for another new person. They get to appoint somebody that applies basically like a job application to be on the board. And so Janelle Bone is our new member. She came to the committee of the whole. She spoke. There was one other community member that came in, so thank you very much to both of them. And Janelle is now our seventh board member.
And then when is the vote on that? Do you know?
It's next April.
Okay.
So when somebody's appointed, typically a board member has a 2-year term. In her case, when you're appointed, you are then up for re-election at the immediate next election date, which would be next April.
Okay. And she's going to learn a lot about Plymouth School District, as many of our board members have.
Yes, yeah, and she had 2 daughters that both graduated from Plymouth High School, and she said she's always wanted to serve, but kind of the funny story is her daughter said, wait until after we've graduated, Mom.
Right.
So now she's asked to be on the board, so looking forward to working with her.
Yeah. You had some information that's not always good news from the legislator update.
Yes, and you know, we work with our legislators and meet with them on a regular basis. We advocate for our schools, our communities. They have other interests as well that they're working with, and so what we're always advocating for is to do the most and the best for our kids and our families. Unfortunately, in this round of budgeting, the Joint Finance Committee, who kind of they basically write what is going to be the budget that then the legislature votes on, came forward with a proposal that held any additional increases for funding our schools at 0.
Right.
And so what that does is any increase that we have for heat, lights, insurances, personnel costs, any of those things, any of those increases are now creating a deficit. And as long as those budget dollars remain flat, we begin to have a structural deficit. There are some federal dollars for COVID relief that are backfilling that deficit currently, but those are really meant for one-time expenses, not ongoing expenses like the ones I just mentioned. And therefore, it's creating a structural deficit for us. So then we end up in our budgeting process having to act like we don't have that funding, because we don't want to have a drop-dead date where we have where we have this big deficit that we're looking at. We're advocating that they don't go whole hog on that like they are. They are telling people that they're spending more money on education, but in the way that they have put it forward, all of that money just goes right back to the either a rainy day fund or a tax rebate of some kind. I'm not sure how that would even be, with no additional money for schools in reality. Schools are getting none of that because we can't spend any more of it because our per pupil expenditure limits are still set at 0 increase. So we are hopeful that we can make some headway with that, but it doesn't look real promising right now.
And at the same time, at this school board meeting, you did talk about preliminary budget for the next school year.
Correct, yeah. We typically have a operating deficit built into the way we budget forward because we budget very conservatively. And then during the course of the year, we use that as motivation to do a good job and keep our expenditures low and shop around for the best prices on everything and energy rebates and the like. And we almost always have a surplus at the end just because we do such a good job with our management. But this year, because the Joint Finance Committee wrote the legislation for the budget, if it remains the same, after we had to go through our personnel stuff with any kind of salary increase or any kind of insurance change.
right.
Those were already built into the budget, and so it created a little bit bigger deficit for us. So yes, we have some federal monies that are coming back in to cover that, but operationally, moving forward, we will have a structural deficit that we will have to work on next year, and we'll do a good job. We'll get it down, but it's going to cause us to limit some of our expenditures for kids and teachers and things. So it's going to be a little bit tighter moving forward when it didn't really have to be.
Right.
The state coffers are plenty full.
Yeah, but nevertheless, Plymouth will find a way to get through all of this.
Absolutely.
Now, you did have part of your meeting was talking about the facility use and the guidelines for that and the fees for that. Explain what we're talking about. It's for people outside our district or even within the district that want to use the facilities.
Right. We've always had a philosophy in our district of these buildings are ours in the community. And we want to be able to have the community members in. You know, we've always had hall walkers and activities and sports and youth teams and Boy Scouts and kettle carvers, and people have always used our facilities on a regular basis. And so that's continuing now that we've had we're coming back and opening up more and more and more with the COVID restrictions being lifted, and we're moving on into a better time. And so we've got new facilities, in particular the bigger gyms and the multipurpose center, which a lot of people want access to. And so when we went out to referendum for that, one of the main questions that came from the community was, with these facilities, are you going to make sure that you have a fee structure in place that helps with maintenance and all of those things so that they are maintained and that they look good for a long time and they're functional, especially because we know that people want to use them maybe that don't live in the district, which is the case already. And so what we have is Dan Knaus, Kathy Murray, others, some youth organizations got together and looked at what other districts charge for fees and all over the place, and then also how our system could look in this area, and how we base those things on philosophically who gets access to those facilities. And so what we do is, if you live in town, in the district, and you've got kids, and maybe it's a youth activity, and it's 75% of the kids are all from our district, and the family is, there's a very minimal fee, if any. But if you look, further out, or you got a mixed group of kids from outside the district or adults from outside the district, then the fees kind of ratchet up a little bit more and more. And for some of the new facilities that are, bigger and maybe have some more maintenance, things like our multi-purpose center, over time, those fees are a little bit higher than they used to be.
Right.
But they're still definitely on par with what anybody else does that we located with, and to make sure that we're being responsible with the investment that was made in those facilities so that they're good for a long time.
And we want people to use our facilities, though, because we're very proud of them.
Yes.
And we've worked very hard to maintain them.
Right. Yeah, we've always done it that way, and it's always surprising to me that when we go to other districts and look at some of their facilities, we'll ask, well, how do you manage the community members that are in here, and who has access, and how do you charge for that? And there aren't a lot of other places that have the community in their buildings as much as we do. I mean, you go, one of our next door neighbors, Sheboygan, has nowhere near the access that we do and the openness that we do with our facilities. But that's the way we want it, and we want people to use them. We purchase them together, all of us that live in the community.
Yep.
So let's use them to their fullest, but let's maintain them and make sure we're charging appropriately so that we can.
Yeah. I know Schedule C was on the minutes, and explain Schedule C to our viewers. It's extracurricular.
It's extracurricular. I know sometimes we have these catchphrases. It's a budgeting term for us, really.
Yep.
It's just, but Schedule C are our extracurricular activities. And for the last number of years, we've been trying to increase the number and variety of available extracurricular activities so that more of our kids are involved, because we've studied it repeatedly year after year, and the kids that we have that are involved in things at school do better in the classroom, universally, and by a long shot. And so we're trying to make that happen so that they get involved earlier, because we also recognize that when kids start earlier being involved in activities, they stay for the long haul. And so what we're doing is we've added two interesting ones. We've added girls golf for next year and Riverview tennis. So both of those will be new, and we're hoping we get a lot of kids involved with that, and just gives more opportunities.
Yep, we have many opportunities for our students, whether it's on the stage, in the choir, in the band, but also in athletics.
Absolutely, something for everybody.
Yep, now, one thing I was curious about is that we have joined the Kiel Virtual Charter School. And explain the charter school of Kiel.
Kiel has had a virtual charter school for upwards of 20 years. It must be 20 years already. We've used some kids who want to take a class through that charter school have done so in the past, and we've always worked with them. We have a new arrangement, a new agreement between the two schools, that instead of one of our students who may live in the district, who may have open enrolled out to a virtual charter anywhere in the world in the past, now can remain our student and just attend the Kiel Virtual School, but they still are our student, and we just have a fee arrangement between Kiel and Plymouth. And with that being the way it is, our students who are taking virtual classes at Kiel could also pick up an elective or two. We've got wonderful electives here. You mentioned band, choir, drama, our tech, our business, our culinary arts. A student could still do that and be in the Kiel Virtual School, but have a couple of classes with us and still do the extracurriculars with us too. So it's a win-win for maybe a student who was just in a virtual school in Verona or something, but never had access to Plymouth things. Now they would.
Right, it's going to be helpful for our students. Again, another plus for students to be involved in the school and also give them opportunities outside the school.
Right, right.
One of the other sad items possibly on the budget was, or last night's school board, was Todd Hunt, principal at Riverview, previously principal at Horizon, is resigning.
Correct. And I thought it was a good idea for us to just mention that, because he's been a long time serving teacher. 21 years. 21 years, and a long time leader in the district. He's done a lot of things. Kids have always loved him. I know that's true, because on the homecoming parade days, when we'd have our school board float, he would be up there, and all of his kids would be yelling, "Hey, Mr. Hunt! Hey, Mr." They loved Mr. Hunt. But he's getting near the end of his career, and what he really wants to do is he wants to finish his career as a classroom teacher, the thing he's always loved the most. And so he's going to finish up as a classroom teacher. He hopes to finish with us, but we have to have a position for that to be available. But he's just looking forward to having that small group family feel of a classroom, and the kids and the families just in that small area.
But I want to congratulate him for 21 years of service to the Plymouth School District, regardless.
Absolutely, he's been a wonderful person.
Lastly, let's have our superintendent report. We do have a few positive things to talk about in the athletic world.
Absolutely. Well, we had great seasons this spring. Obviously, we got all of them in. We had 0 COVID-related issues.
Right.
I mean, that's saying something.
That's a win.
That's a win. And our teams, speaking of winning, were across the board, winning records, up near the top or at the top of the conference in most of the sport, in all of the activities. And we have 2 groups that have some state-bound competitors. So first, our girls soccer team is heading to state. So as of this video, we are in a group of 4. So we're kind of in the final 4.
Right.
and I think we play Ashland first. And then on the other side of the bracket would be McFarland versus our old nemesis, New Berlin Eisenhower.
Right.
So I would like us to win our first match and then get New Berlin Eisenhower in the second match.
Take care of business.
And beat them this time. And then the other one is we've got 14 competitors heading to the state track meet, which is for us. And so we're excited to have them heading off to state.
One of the things that our audience has to understand that these state championships are much later than normal. You could not convince me that we would have the track and field championships the last weekend of June.
Right.
It's all because of the COVID thing.
Yes, WIAA put an extra season in for schools that didn't participate in their typical fall.
Right.
They had a little gap time between typical winter and typical spring, and they in turn put the old fall seasons in that gap of time, which moved everybody that was in the regular spring back a bit. So, yeah, I know personally I've got a son who's still going in track and is out of school now this week and last week and is trying to work a job and work around the hours of that and practice. And so it's, what do you say? It's 2021, 2020, COVID, everything's just a little different.
But we want to congratulate those teams, though, and those students that are participating at the highest level in the state.
Yes, very exciting.
Well, I want to thank you for being on. I want to mention to everyone that the school board meetings are the third Tuesday of every month. Third Tuesday here in the Plymouth Amphitheater, starting at 5:30.
Yes.
Yes. And so be part of what's happening in the Plymouth School District, and I look forward to summer school happening. Summer school has started, and we have many students active. It is going to be a great summer here in Plymouth.
Absolutely.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
When we come back, I've got Donna Hahn in the audience waiting to step up and tell us about what's happening in the world of arts there in the Plymouth area. Stay right with us. You're watching Action 14. Welcome back to Action 14. I have with me now Donna Hahn. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike.
Let's talk arts. We have many
Okay.
different things happening this summer.
We do. Right now, we have our Live in the Arts show going on in our gallery. It's 79 pieces of beautiful artwork. Many of them are for sale. You can stop in and take a look, free admission.
And let's also understand that many of the items are local artists.
Yes, our artists.
That's the neat part.
Yes, for this particular show, we do a call to artists, and any artist in Wisconsin can submit an application, and then we hire a judge, and she chose 79 pieces from 56 artists.
Yep. And what's neat about it is the fact that you'll recognize some names, and you also then will get a feel for different kinds of art.
Oh,
I think
yes.
that's what I get a kick out of. It's not all oil, it's not all water
Right.
based. It's a mixture of many different things.
Right, we have sculpture pieces, wood pieces, ceramic, all kinds, like you said.
Be sure to come down to the Arts Center. Do not. It's a beautiful place. It's stop in at the gift shop, and but come to the Arts Center to see what is available to Plymouth.
And it's always changing. That's the nice thing about it with the exhibits. We have exhibits, 6 times per year. We change the exhibits, so it's a nice schedule.
One of the items for summer that I'm getting a kick out of is every Friday night now, there's going to be a show in downtown Plymouth at the Arts Center.
Yes, it's called Mill Street Live, and it features 9 area students, performers, and 5 of them are from Plymouth this year, which is wonderful.
Yes.
And they're doing a fantastic job, and they're very high energy, energetic, they're just right up on the stage dancing and singing their hearts out, so it's wonderful.
And what's neat about it, the fact that it's not just one type of song. You've got everything from jazz to country to blues. It's
Right.
many different items.
Yes, they cover all the 6 decades of music.
It starts at 7:30, and it's every Friday night now until August.
August 6th will be their last
Yep.
show.
So
So
you
7 shows on
Yep.
Friday nights, yes.
It started up now, so every Friday night, there's going to be a show
We'd like people
in
to buy.
downtown Plymouth.
We'd like people to buy tickets in advance if possible this year, because we do have the seats spaced, a little bit. So we can get an idea how many we can sell at the door.
Yep.
So we are encouraging that.
Yeah, be sure to contact the Arts Center. I say come down and see your juried show going on
Yes.
and talk about tickets. But otherwise, just stop in. Just stop in or give them a ring. Give me a number that we can call.
892-8409.
Yep. And, or you actually go to the PlymouthArts.org.
Yes.
That's our website that you could go to find out all the things happening at the Arts Center.
And we update that weekly. So any changes that come about, we are, for sure changing that
Yep, and
website.
that's the PlymouthArts.org.
And also, we're on Facebook. So we're very active on Facebook. So if we have an update, we'll put it on there.
One of the things that, for the first time ever, we've had kids from Wisconsin here before, but this is the first time ever it's going to be at the park.
Yes, this year the kids are returning for their 53rd season.
Yes.
So we're really happy to have them, but it was a challenge, I have to say, to find a venue for them because they aren't performing indoors this year because of the COVID. So we chose the Plymouth City Park, and we're going to sell preferred bench seating at $10 a ticket, which is very reasonable.
Yes.
It's going to be close to the concession stand and close to the music, actually. And you can also come if you'd like to bring your own lawn chair, you can do that. And we're asking for a very small minimum of $5 per person fee to help us pay for the music.
56 years?
It's their 53rd season that they've been in.
53rd
Yes.
season. Wow.
Yeah.
And they play at the State Fair.
Yes.
They play all over the country.
All over Wisconsin and over the Midwest too.
And we
So-
have a local person
We
from
do.
Sheboygan Falls that actually is in the band.
Yes, we were lucky enough to have Alex Turasek in the group for 3 years.
Yes.
And Alex, of course, moved on. And now we have Noah Bartelt from Sheboygan Falls, who is also he's a bass guitarist.
Yep.
And a very talented young man going to Stanford University. So we're very fortunate.
Kids from Wisconsin is at 6:30 on July 13th.
Yes.
Tuesday, July 13th, 6:30 down at the park. And again, sign up early for the $10 bench seating.
Right.
That's what we would like you to do is, again,
Yes.
get a hold of the Arts Center, stop down, go to the website, give them a call. But we want to fill up all of the benches.
We would like to, yes. And then, of course, if you don't want to sit close to the stage, then, bring your lawn chair.
Yep. And there will be food available like there would be on every Thursday night down there.
Yes, we're going to have a very limited menu, probably hot dogs and popcorn. And
Yep.
we'll have that concession stand open at 5:30 already. So you can come and, bring the whole family, eat dinner.
That's July 13th, 6:30 down at the city park.
Correct.
It's going to be kind of a neat experience because I've never seen them play outside.
Yes. Well, I have seen them at State Fair.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But not around here.
Yeah.
So,
It's going to be a neat evening, July 13th, down at the city park.
right, and there too, they cover a broad range of music. You're going to enjoy everything from Broadway to country and jazz. They cover all the bases.
Right, right. It's going to be a great evening, folks. Great evening. Contact the Arts Center now for the $10 bench seating.
Correct.
Yes.
And we do have a whole list of sponsors. I won't go through them right now, but we're very fortunate, to have such great sponsorship from our community, and we're very appreciative.
Yes, actually, everything happening at the Arts Center has sponsorship involved.
Right.
And you have such support from the Plymouth area.
We
I mean,
do.
we can be very proud of the businesses and individuals that live in the Plymouth area because they certainly
Yes.
back the Arts Center.
They really do. We are very fortunate for both the Mill Street Live show and for Kids from Wisconsin to have great sponsorship. Otherwise, we would not be able to do this. And we want to thank TV14 as well because You guys, you help us promote our events, and
Only because we love it.
we're very grateful.
Yeah, so over the course of how many years at the Arts Center now?
We are in our 28th year.
Right, and I remember when it was open for the first time, when it was renovated the second time.
Yes.
We are so lucky in Plymouth, Wisconsin to have an Arts Center.
We were just talking about that. The second time we remodeled it was during the Wall Dog event. And we made that happen. We had festivities going on at, excuse me, at the Arts Center. So we're capable of a lot.
Yep, and of course the Wall Dogs are coming back.
And they are coming
It's
back.
going to be some August, I'll tell you.
At the end of August,
Yeah.
they'll be back in town. So
Yeah.
we're really excited about that.
One of the last things I want to talk about is the annual Jazz Crawl.
Yeah.
You call it the Jazz and Blues Crawl now.
Yes.
It's happening certainly in August also. I've got it August 13th.
Yes.
It is the 17th annual. We've been doing this for 17 years.
17th annual, and actually I brought you a beautiful wristband because we are selling them.
Talk about the wristband game, because this is one of the largest support of the Arts Center.
This year, it's only $10, and, you buy the wristband, and you're gonna ride the trolley for free, and, it's just a great way to support the whole event. And we went with Plymouth colors this year.
That's right, I noticed orange and black. It is August 13th. Everything starts up around 4:30 down at the Arts Center. You
Yes.
actually have 4 bands yourself?
Right. We start out with 2 smaller bands at 4:30. Inside, we're going to have Zach Holzer. He's going to play jazz piano. And then outside, we have the Gypsy Swing Chicks, 3 musicians there. And then later, we're going to have Michelle Jarabic. She has a new band called El McBell. And it's basically the Copper Box Band -1. And that's pretty exciting. And she'll be in the front plaza. And then also inside, we're going to have Donna Waddell return. And she's got a beautiful jazz band. She's from Milwaukee, and we're looking forward to having Donna back again.
What I usually do is come down at 4:30, because you also will have food available.
We will, yes.
And so I start my supper on Jazz Crawl night at the Arts Center. And then after a couple bands, I wander just a little bit, maybe ride the bus around, and then come back later.
Right. We're going to have Yummy Bones catering on site this year, and it's going to be fun. I mean, they're a great group, and, a little bit different food. So we're looking forward to that.
What you have to understand is there's probably 7 or 8 other venues that will also have music that night.
Music and food.
And so the whole idea is to travel to hear a bit of all of them.
Right. We start early at 4:30, but then right around 6, we start music at the other venues. So the trolley will probably get started around 6:30, and, if you want to hop on and go to the other venues, be sure to get your wristband.
That's right, and get the wristband down at the Arts Center.
Yes.
And for $10, you will have a night you will remember, because you
That's
will
right.
hear so many different types of music. Traveling, and of course you get to travel and walk through downtown Plymouth and see
Right.
all of the different areas. A couple new places are opening up for this.
Yes, we're going to have the Plank Road Distillery open for this time around, so we're excited to have that venue join us. And, all of our other venues have returned, except Dio's. We're not doing Dio's this year. They'll be back next year.
Yes, next year we'll make that happen. But I do wish you the best of luck. Circle it again. That is August 13th, Friday, August 13th, in beautiful downtown Plymouth.
Yes,
We've got many things happening
we
this
do.
summer.
We do.
Go to the PlymouthArts.org, PlymouthArts.org, and find out what is happening in the art world of Plymouth.
It's going to be a really hopping summer.
That's right. Thank you so
So-
much for being on.
Thank you very much, Mike.
I want to thank you for being on. I want to say I've got the mayor in the house. He'll be on the hot seat to ask there's some tough questions in just a moment. Stay right with us. You're watching Action 14. Welcome back to Action 14. As promised, I've got the mayor on the show. Welcome ACTION14.
Thank you, Mike. It's always a pleasure to be here with your viewers and try to fill them in on some of the cooperative efforts we're trying to do with our big boys in Washington,
Yes,
D.C.
I know, it's what a mess. But I just can't believe we've gotten to near the end of June already.
It is amazing how we were dragging for so long. And I think part of the attitude is we're open for business. And maybe that's got something to do with it because people are just everywhere. And that's fantastic.
Right. But back to the government here. You've got dollars you want to talk about, but don't get everybody's hope up too high, okay?
Well, the short answer is
Yeah.
we're getting about 950,000 and chunk change.
Yep.
The bad news to the good news is we don't know when it's coming.
Right.
And quite honestly, if I had to predict and put the pencil, in the calendar, the X on the calendar, I don't think we're going to see it until 2023. And that's unfortunate because I think Washington talks in nice generalities, and then things have to sift through all the different levels of paperwork and, define the word infrastructure.
Right.
It isn't what you think it is, and it isn't what anybody else thinks it is. So it's really a difficult thing for us to work with, and we're simply, we're in the middle of our 22 budget right now, and quite honestly, we're not really going to put much faith in the numbers for 22, and we're going at it that if something happens to come our way, we'll just deal with it when it comes because we can't count on it. We have to prepare this as nothing is really on the table yet.
Right. It's nearly $1 million will come to Plymouth, but it may be 2 years before you see it.
Exactly. And then what will qualify? I mean, we've got 3 bridges. We would love to do some, rebuffering and restructuring. And we have a dam site that has to be worked on through the Corps of Engineers, and that project is out even 4 or 5 years. And all these things are in the future, in the out years, and yet we have to deal with things that sound good, but the answer is it's not coming today or yesterday or tomorrow. It's a real nightmare, and that's the one problem that we deal with as community leaders in trying to decipher all of these things from Washington. It's a little frustrating, but it has taught us, as does life, patience is a virtue.
Yeah. I've noticed that not only do we have a lot of people out and about, but I see a lot of now hiring, help wanted signs. We have a lot of jobs in this area that we really need to fill.
We do, and it's a good thing because we're growing, and we haven't seen help wanted ads in the paper or on the news, and even out in front of different businesses for 2-3 years, and now we're seeing them everywhere. I don't think whether it's first shift, second shift, or third shift, or any line of work that you want, there's a job for you if you want to work today, quite honestly. And that's a good thing. We don't have the people to fill the jobs. And we're talking full-time equivalent work at many locations that have jobs for 45,000 on up. And the hours are good, the pay is good, the company is good. And I get a mayor's report every month from the county and the Sheboygan County Economic Development Corp. We got over 4,000 jobs right now and no people to fill them. So it's a problem. It's the kind of thing that we're hoping to find solutions to. And just last week, we had a city employee that retired. So we have an opening in the city. And when you hire on for the city, as in many other jobs in the community, you have a 20 or 30-year job with good pay and benefits that you can count on and you can raise a family on. So it's incredibly important that we have these jobs available to support the community.
Yes, and so we have many jobs available. Just check them out. You could advance yourself in Plymouth.
You can, and there are training programs within the businesses themselves. They have all gone to a new program of employee assistance through, for instance, Lakeshore Technical College that will improve the skills of the employee for the job requirement. And in-house, many of the employers also have training programs that actually LTC has gone out to the employer, sat down with their people, and developed an in-house training program to assist them on site during their work hours, or maybe some weekend work hours, but on site. It's amazing. COVID has done so many things good.
Well, we've learned.
We've learned.
Yeah.
We've adjusted, and it brought out all these opportunities, and businesses today can't wait to have an employee up and running 6 or 12 months from now. They are anxious to fill these voids and do it quickly and responsibly. And I think a pat on the back goes to, Plymouth education system, because they are making changes. They are assisting in some of those technical revisions within the businesses. And so, they're a professional group to lean on and say, what are we doing wrong? What do we have to change? And I think that's one of the beauties in Plymouth, in Sheboygan County. I really feel that we have that assistance. If we want it, if we go to people and say, can you help me? They're all willing to help.
Yes.
And of course, the technical college has led in that fight for 10, 12 years, even
Yes.
with our own assistance. But it's the kind of thing that the community comes together, and the word of mouth. You see the signs on the road, part-time job. It's almost before they put it in the front yard, people working there are passing the word on and saying, you know what, we got an opening, doing this, that, or something else. And they're spreading the word. And actually employers, I know the city of Plymouth does, that if we have an opening, we're telling employees, if you know somebody that's looking for work, pass the word on.
Right,
I mean,
right.
we work together on this. So it's a great effort. The community is looking to always improve itself and grow. And I think that's been one of our attitudes for a long time now. But I think, once again, COVID has resulted in expanding and growing our labor force like we never did before.
Let's go one other step too, because everybody's out and about right now. In fact, yesterday, the jets went overhead on me because Road America Racing was full go.
Oh,
Is everybody okay in being out? Do we have any restrictions at all in the city of Plymouth?
good question, and the answer is no. No restrictions. We're open for business. And quite honestly, I think, again, COVID has been a good thing. It's made people aware of different things and to be a little cautious, and the response, people, I think, are more responsible. And when I go out and about, and I was gone on Saturday, I noticed that people are just taking a little bit more time to be courteous with others, and whether that's, opening the door or holding the door open or giving people more, personal space. That's also something that's called being friendly.
Yep.
And so why can't we do that?
Sure. Well, I certainly want to thank you for being on. It's going to be a great summer here in Plymouth, Wisconsin, and the city is here to help in all ways possible.
We are, and the activities are just starting to take off, and you're so right. We want people to enjoy themselves, and I think doing things local is really starting to take off.
I do want to mention that the city council, you have your meetings.
Yep,
The second and last.
second and last Tuesday in the council chambers.
We're back home.
We're back home,
And what time?
7 o'clock.
Yep.
And they generally last, maybe 45 minutes. Come and visit, watch us on TV 14, and get interested and involved in your local government, your schools, and the community.
Yes, thank you again, Mayor.
You're welcome.
When we come back, I've got a special guest on the show. We're going to have Jordan Skiff, a city administrator, is going to be talking to me.
Be hard on them.
Oh, I will. So stay right with us. You're watching Action 14. Welcome back to Action 14. As promised, I got Jordan Skiff here, the city administrator in Plymouth. It was last December that during all the COVID, that the Plymouth city decided that you're the man for the job, to be a city administrator. Welcome to Plymouth.
Thank you very much. Very fortunate to be here.
Give us a little history about your life on working your way towards Plymouth.
Well, it could go back a long ways. My wife and I both grew up next door to each other in small town of Neilsville, Wisconsin, over on the west part of the state. Went to the University of Minnesota. I got a degree there in electrical engineering. I was in Air Force ROTC, and so right after college, entered active duty in the Air Force. Spent 5 years in North Dakota, both at Minot Air Force Base and then at Grand Forks Air Force Base. So in the Air Force, I was part of civil engineering squadrons, and basically took care of bases and facilities, very similar to working in a public works department for a municipality. So after 5 years of active duty, we decided to get out and come back to Wisconsin. And so at that point, I entered working for municipalities, basically, again, to take advantage of the experience that I'd had in the Air Force. My first public works director job was in Sparta, Wisconsin, over by La Crosse.
Right.
And we spent almost 12 years there. So that was a great experience. My wife and I have been married for almost 28 years. That'll be this Saturday. And we have 8 children. And so a number of them experienced most of their growing up years in Sparta. And so that was a great time in our lives. And then we moved to Fond du Lac, where I was also the public works director there, and I was in that position for about 9 years until last December.
Yeah.
And so, but the opportunity in Plymouth was a great opportunity for us in that we didn't want to take the children out of the school that they were in. We didn't want to move to a completely new area, but it was an opportunity to move into an administrator role versus that of being a public works director. So smaller community, but higher position, and a challenge to learn some new things, to move more into the financial side of city government, and to oversee a wider variety of positions instead of simply public works. And so, like I said at the outset, I was very fortunate to be selected. In a way, the city was taking a little bit of a risk, hiring somebody that had not been an administrator before. I don't have an accounting background or things like that. And so there is some learning curve associated with that. But it's been a good several months. I started on January 12th and have learned something new every day. And if that's your definition of a good day, then I've had only good days here, because I've had a lot to learn, and it's gone pretty well. So yeah, that's kind of the path that led me here.
Yes, it's, and you could not have come to Plymouth or actually anywhere under more difficult times with COVID and everything. You had your people working different shifts. It had to be just crazy for you.
It was, it almost sounds like a Dickens novel, but in a way it was the best of times and the worst of times. Certainly COVID offered challenges to all of us, and Plymouth was no different, Fond du Lac was no different. We were fortunate in that people in city government tended to stay at work unless they were actually quarantined. And that was true both in Fond du Lac and here. And so it's not like I came into an organization that had to find a way to come back to the office. They had been doing that throughout. But there definitely were some challenges. My position was vacant for about 8 months.
Yes.
And so Kathy Austin, our Public Works Director here, did a great job of keeping that ship afloat, kind of wearing those two hats for quite a while. And so that was a challenge, and several projects were postponed
Right.
because some of the revenue stream for either the city or on the utilities side was uncertain. And so projects were postponed and kind of built up during those times. And so that made 2021 interesting as we tried to catch up a little bit. And then even this year, there's been some uncertainty. You know, we
Right.
start off with the mask policy, and then that's overturned by the state Supreme Court, and then it's more of a local decision. And I think all of us hopefully are trying to do the right thing of keeping people safe, but also kind of returning to life as normal when we feel like we can in a comfortable way. And so I think Plymouth has handled that well, and I'm very proud of our staff and how they've handled it. But yeah, it was a crazy time to move. One thing when I say that it was the best of times is that my predecessor, Brian Jurgis, really left Plymouth in excellent financial footing. And so that is, obviously that's a huge advantage to move into a job where the staff is relatively healthy, gets along well, is in good positions, and where the finances of the city are really strong.
Yeah.
And so even as I'm learning some things and trying to pick up some projects that maybe were postponed for a while, to know that overall the city's in a really good position is great.
Yeah, we know that we got through the winter, and now because many of the mandates have been lifted, it's time for Plymouth to get out and enjoy the summer.
And that's something that I think I've noticed in like Chamber of Commerce emails, just the number of events that are coming up, whether it's ribbon cuttings as businesses kind of come back to life and maybe have the chance to expand or to build new. But even events like the Mill Street Festival and the Taste of Plymouth and, you know, the Family Music Festival and the Plymouth Municipal Band starting up again and the pool opening up again. And I'm sure you've noticed this too, just it seems like people are so hungry to get out and to catch up on things that they maybe weren't able to do last year, or at least not to the extent that they would have wanted. And so it's been exciting to see. And I know a lot of work and a lot of debate goes on in the background. Can we restart these events? If so, are there things that we have to do differently? But the public sure is ready to come back out and take advantage.
Yes. As we go forward, what are some of the opportunities and challenges that you see for Plymouth down the road, though? I know you're looking at.
Yeah, so a couple of great opportunities. First of all, kind of financial. One is that, and for some of your viewers, they may be familiar with the term TID, which is a tax incremental district. And the one that, a large one covers the Walmart area here in Plymouth, and that's scheduled to basically be closed within the next couple of years. And that will bring quite a bit of tax levy revenue into the city. So for the few people that are interested in that sort of thing, it gives a lot of opportunity to a city like Plymouth to do more things, to look at that extra revenue and to have projects or initiatives to take advantage of that. Obviously, the American Rescue Plan brings a lot of opportunity for cities like Plymouth. Bigger cities like Sheboygan or counties have even more
Yes.
to work with. But Plymouth, I think we're allocated about $913,000 that we weren't planning on.
Right.
Quite a bit of that, maybe half, will go towards what they call revenue recovery. Basically, our finance director, Kim Ross, has been tracking what revenues have we lost out on as a city of Plymouth, or what extra expenses have we had because of COVID. And that's probably where we'll put the first, chunk of money from that. But that will still leave several $100,000 available to our city council to allocate for projects or things like that. It's too early to speculate exactly what that will be used for. I would think in looking at what's eligible, some sort of infrastructure project or projects might be in line. And there's a good chance that more infrastructure funding will be coming down from the federal government. And so we don't want to be too excited to spend all that money. We want to be very careful in how we do it and to make sure that it's spent wisely. But that's certainly an opportunity. Also, just some of your viewers might be interested in getting involved in local government. We have a new website that we're working on behind the scenes that's going to be up and running hopefully in September.
Good.
And so for people that maybe have been frustrated by kind of an outdated city website and the limited opportunity to do things on it, most of us, or many people, would like to really just start to finish, do what they want to do online and not have to make the phone call or come in. And they'll have more opportunity to do that.
Okay.
And then we also have a comprehensive plan. And so taking a look at the next 20 years for the city of Plymouth and what can we do in the areas of transportation or housing, economic development, and so natural resources, things like that. And so anybody that's interested in getting involved with those sorts of issues is more than welcome to the table. Our Plan Commission will probably start looking at that next Thursday. Will be their first kick at that. And then we're also looking at downtown design guidelines. How can we have our downtown facilities especially, have that ability of the owner to make improvements as they see fit, but also to do it in a way that's consistent with colors or with history or with architecture. And so again, for some of our residents, they'll be very interested in that, and those are some opportunities coming. Challenges, the dam is a big one.
Yes.
We're under a DNR order to do something with that dam within a couple of years, which sounds like a long time, but that's going to come up quickly. And so that's probably one of the bigger challenges that in my time here, I know it's coming. We haven't taken a real kick at it yet, but it's coming, and we will be, so.
Yeah, well, I certainly want to welcome you to Plymouth. I know you've been here 6 months already, but there's so much to see, and we're so proud of our city that with the arch now was put in, we are the cheese capital of the world, and I welcome you to the cheese capital.
Thank you very much.
And I wish the best of you. We'll have you on again later to talk about more in depth on a couple items, but welcome to Plymouth.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
And I want to thank you for being with us tonight. Until next time, we'll be seeing you on the radio. Bye-bye.